She's alright.
Welcome back to the Poets Corner. I am Micah Joel Tui, and I am joined by Jessamine Luong. Moving into what you were saying, you're talking about a desire for understanding, and that's something that I understand. I think. What I really would like to understand, you have this experience in, I guess I call it part 3 in your poem Concept of God, which we just read. And like a genie in a bottle, you can use his rules to bend his rules, if you are smart and wish for all the wishes in the world. And sometimes, especially think when we're young, that religiosity is that finding the genie in the bottle and trying to, if you are smart and wish for all the wishes in the world. And yet that's not your experience today. Could you just share a little bit about that particular part? Because I think it really gets close to that primal religiosity.
Yeah, that part, this whole poem is kind of a narrative of my spiritual journey.
We'll post it so you can see it more in context.
And this part comes from being a child, and you learn to see things in a very concrete way, and things are like the rules of the game. And you're playing a video game, you make it do this, and then you find all these secret things that you can do with the thing, and secret worlds that you can get into, and that's the world, and that's exactly. That's the one I was thinking of. Exactly. Get into that underworld. And when I was a kid, I went to a Baptist school for a couple of years, and Baptist school, I learned a lot about the Bible. I went into this big long timeline.
Can you still recite the books of the Bible in order?
Oh, heck yeah.
Can you do it?
I can do it under 30 seconds.
Can you do it really quick for us?
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st, 2nd, 1st, Kings, 1st, Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah. Oh, crap. What comes after Nehemiah? Well, maybe I can't. Ezra, Nehemiah, Ezra, Nehemiah. Okay. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Job, Isaiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, 1st, 2nd Corinthians, 1st, 2nd Thessalonians, 1st, 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st, 2nd Peter, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Jude, Revelation. I missed a few. After Nehemiah.
One, two, skip a few. See, I never was able to do that, even though I was the son of a minister. I never was able to do that. However, because I love language, I can do that with all the forms of be. Have had duty does can would you will be been am is are always were cannot must. Look, appear, smell, seem, sound, feel, taste, become, remain, grow. So
very good. Very good.
I can do that with the forms of be. So anyway, but back on subject.
Yeah.
But so we have these associations. We have these associations of the things we learn. We have these memories and associations. And so my question is, at what point in life do you A, start growing into something else, and B, how does that kind of coincide with, because oftentimes when I figured out that God wasn't the genie that I wanted, and he wasn't Robin Williams, and he wasn't going to turn me into Prince Ali, and blah blah, that to me was a point where beauty took a hit. Because it's like, oh wait, I guess I don't have the insider information that I need to make money on the life market.
Yeah.
And yet you have gone past that. You've gone past the bending of the rules and the wishes of the world, and yet you still say that there is an authenticity of truth and goodness and beauty. And so I'm guessing, how do you go? What was the, generically, what's the growth there?
Actually, I wonder if for me it was, maybe fortunately for me, this whole thing with the genie wasn't so much a beautiful moment in my life as kind of a dark time in my life, because in some Baptist churches you have more of a wrathful God, and I think that's the one I was given. And the rules, and getting around the rules was me getting around the rules. It wasn't him being the genie is maybe a little bit more of a positive association, but it's like he wants to trick me somehow, and if I can be smart enough, I can trick him, which is obviously ridiculous. But so being liberated from that is actually seeing God as love, seeing God as as present, as imminent, and also as more transcendent than these things, than these rules, these rules of the game. That he's just waiting for you to get out of bounds, and so that he gets out of bounds. And for me, I think I experienced that when I was 15. I think that's when it kind of I questioned that for a while, and then I began to see God as transcending all these rules, and as God being in my life and being present. It was I guess it came when I was able to think a little more abstractly than I could when I was a child.
Could you be willing to read section 7 for us?
Sure. When I was almost lost, he came to me like Moses with his burning bush. Like a professor with his books, he looked at me intelligently. He came like unexpected smiles from strangers, kind, affirming dignity.
The reason why I really like that poem, as far as for what you just said, and talking about this transition of having a new encounter with I'd like to call it beauty.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because when you talk about an unexpected smile from strangers, a smile is something that expresses generally not just affection, but familiarity as well. Am I right when I'm thinking, okay, this is about from something that is strange or something that is new and something that is mysterious, I'm experiencing familiarity, unexpected.
I think it's a very good reading. I think that's what it feels like. You stumble upon something and it's, this is right. This is, yeah.
So, I guess, when we talk about the familiarity in terms of the poet, one of the things that I really like about one of the particular poems of yours that I really, really like is the smoking grandmother archetype. And I know we're going back to something. We're going back to, like, we started out talking about the smoking ban. And
sure.
It's like, so I was just hoping, just for the sake of familiarity, if you could share this poem, read this poem about the grandmother.
Sure. This is called The Smoking Grandmother Archetype. The other day I saw a smoking grandmother waiting to turn left at a stoplight, flicking ashes out the window of the silver Oldsmobile. Her gray curls rose like heat on a summer afternoon, and her lips moved like two angry lines. My mind followed her home, to a neighborhood with birdhouses and lawnmowers, to a front porch with wind chimes. Through the door with jangling keys, where she undressed and slipped into a flowered muumuu. She made herself a chicken salad sandwich, poured Pepsi over crackling ice, into a plastic cup that left condensation rings on the metal TV tray. There's no air conditioning, and suddenly I feel like an 8-year-old, squirming on the couch. The room fills with a theme to the young and the restless. I lean toward the sound of the humming window box fan.
The reason why I love this poem is I never had a smoking grandmother, but there's something about when you talk about the silver Oldsmobile and the jangling keys and the lack of air conditioning in the room. I really like the familiarity you create in this poem, and I feel like with this poem, even though I've never met this person, I feel like I know this person. One of the things that I always hope to do with this program is to encourage people to do the same thing that we talk about when we talk about that stranger smile, bringing that familiarity, that being known into a person's life, just through random acts of kindness. I think you find yourself connected to something else. And so I'd like to finish with another poem by Theodore Bach that really gets to that, making that familiarity present. And this poem is called "The Gift Without the Giver is Bare." The title is a reference to a line from The Vision of Sir Launfal by James Russell Lowell, who wrote first "The Gift Without the Giver is Bare." And I truly believe that. I think without insertion of the person, the gift is just a trinket. A baby, not a half-year-old, propped in a carrier on the table of Good Samaritan breakfast. Tiny arms hanging limp, waiting passively for the next morsel of syrup-soaked French toast from a teenage mother's fingers, making no sound while the mother sliced bites of her French toast and ate in silence. No affectionate stroking, just passive acceptance of another day in an uncertain future. "Could you use this?" I asked, in the small, tidy Good Samaritan kitchen, as I placed fruit, vegetables, butter, all I could carry, on the counter. "Leftovers," I said, "from a celebration dinner at church." I signed the contribution book and walked out, passing the breakfast table, lined with transients, shaken by stark, silent figures of hunger and displacement, and wondered what I'd do about it. I think that provoking of the question can be just as familiar as the smile. I think that, interestingly enough, the smile, which we talk about, it provokes the familiarity, but I think the question that poem brings forth evokes the need to make it manifest. That it's not just one way. It's not just a need to receive that, but also a need to make it present where it seems apparently absent. That's pretty awesome. So, to do an homage to the goodness of you coming, I decided I would read the poem "Friendship" on air.
Yes.
"Friendship" is a poem that is dedicated to Jessamine. When she and I were having a correspondence through email about friendship, in her subject heading, she misspelled friendship. She forgot the D. And so, in this poem, in the title, I also leave out the D. So that's why this poem is called "Friendship." Friendship. How am I to answer when someone asks me what it is? My own life has instructed me far more in what it is not. How can I know what something is from what is lacking in my heart? Can I draw a picture from a shadow or sculpt an empty space? So I say, it is not having this void. It is not having this pain. It is not having this fear of what is lacking in my heart or yours. So everyone, this has been another episode of the Poets Corner. We've talked about a lot of different things this evening, but as we wrap up and as we try to figure out where our continuity is going, I hope you've had a few moments just to take a few timeouts and just enjoy. Please remember that I'll be praying for you this week and that I'm always interested in your feedback. I wouldn't do this show if I didn't want someone to hear it and someone to benefit from it. So please understand that there is a you, and I hope that some of the strange familiarity I give to you can be received in the spirit that it was given. This has been the Poets Corner. Good night, everyone. Good luck, and God bless you.